From the National Newsroom of the Canadian Press, I'm Naira Ahmed. Tropical storm Ernesto has strengthened back into a hurricane with winds expected to gain speed over the next 12 hours. The storm was centered over 800 kilometers south of Halifax, Nova Scotia, and was expected to pass near southeastern Newfoundland late Monday and early Tuesday. Meanwhile, Environment Canada has issued rainfall warnings in several areas of southwestern Quebec and Ontario.
More heavy downpours are expected today in Montreal and other parts of Quebec that are still recovering from record-breaking rainfall just 9 days ago. The agency is predicting 30 millimeters of rain this afternoon through tomorrow morning, with possible thunderstorms pushing the total to upwards of 50 millimeters, with the potential for flooding. Meanwhile, residents of southern Ontario are experiencing a rainy weekend after a record-setting rainfall yesterday and more to come today. Lauren Izo, The Canadian Press.
A pro-Palestinian encampment has been dismantled at Vancouver Island University. British Columbia's Supreme Court granted the university an injunction last week, ordering the protesters to leave after being set up for 110 days. The protester group shared a video on Instagram saying people in hazmat suits arrived when the injunction took effect and began dismantling the encampment. It was one of many that sprung up on campuses in both Canada and the United States in response to the Israel-Hamas war in Gaza. Meanwhile, Israeli strikes overnight and into today killed 29 people in Gaza, including 10-year-old quintuplets. The children's grandfather says his daughter, who was a teacher, was killed and that his 6 grandchildren have become body parts. Mohammed Awab Khattab says they were placed in a single bag, telling reporters, quote, "What did they do? Will this provide security to Israel?" Israel says it only targets militants and blames civilian deaths on Hamas because the group places fighters, weapons, tunnels, and rockets in residential areas. Stateside now, as party faithful descend on Chicago for the Democratic National Convention this week, an expert says it will be an important opportunity for U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris to show herself as a leader and build unity among supporters.
A reinvigorated Democratic Party is gathering in Chicago for its national convention as polls in key battleground states tip in their favor and momentum continues to grow around Vice President Kamala Harris. It'll serve as an opportunity for the Vice President to redefine herself as a leader and lay out a vision for the future of America following a tumultuous few months for the party. University of Pennsylvania's Mark Trussler says Harris has done a good job of building excitement, but it'll be critical to create unity among the party.
Are the Democrats going to be able to show a united front?
Kelly Malone, The Canadian Press, Washington.
And a popular feature of Jasper National Park, the Miette Hot Springs, has reopened while the rest of the park remains closed. The source of the Springs Trail has also been reopened as crews continue to fight a wildfire that's keeping the rest of the park closed. This is The Canadian Press. In sports, Bowden Francis threw 7 scoreless innings to help the Toronto Blue Jays shut out the Cubs 1-0 in Chicago. Next, Toronto will send Kevin Gausman to the mound tomorrow night against visiting Cincinnati. In CFL action, the league has reinstated Toronto Argonauts quarterback Chad Kelly with conditions.
Kelly was suspended for Toronto's 2 exhibition games and the first 9 regular season contests for violating the league's gender-based violence program. Kelly will be eligible to play for the Argos on Thursday night when they host the Saskatchewan Roughriders. The league says he must demonstrate a continued commitment to upholding league standards, but says the conditions are confidential and won't be disclosed. Kelly was the CFL's outstanding player last season. Emily Joveski, The Canadian Press, Toronto.
And Week 11 of the season concludes today in Vancouver as the BC Lions get set to welcome the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Nathan Rourke is set to return under center for the Lions. From the Canadian Press, I'm Naira Ahmed.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to follow and subscribe. For more of today's top stories, visit thecanadianpressnews.ca.